So we're doing a filter insert change on a VRU with our tools, the socket for the cordless drill. Here we have the protection sleeve for the stay bolt and a torque wrench. And here's our drain kit for the VRU. Go ahead. Just connect the hose to the drain valve of the VRU. Open the drain valve, check that the automatic air vent is open, and pump a vacuum. There's the vacuum gauge, and it's drawing the oil from the VRU. Should take about 2 minutes to empty the VRU. And as soon as it's empty, you see air bubbles coming from the suction hose here. That means the VRU is now empty. Take off the insulation cap from the top nut, the collar from the insulating protection cover. Take the wrap off the cable to be able to take off the top cover from the VRU. Always put the filter housing down on oil pads like this. Not only prevents that oil from spilling on the ground, but also protecting the sealing surface, which is here and on the bottom of the filter housing as well. Please don't ever put it down on concrete. Now take off the hex nut from the spring guide, compressing the filter inserts. Best to remove the spring guide is actually to lift the whole filter insert a little bit, and then you have a gap that you can pull off the spring guide. Do this slowly, as there is an O-ring. You don't want to scrape it too hard over the thread of the stay bolt. The best way to remove the filter inserts is actually to get the new filter inserts out of the boxes first. Each box comes with the manual, the guide how to change filter inserts, and a spacer to place between two filter inserts. So you will need 3 of those for the stack of 4 filter inserts. Now that you have the new filter inserts out on a clean surface, you can actually reuse the filter bags to remove the used filter inserts from the unit and place them back into the cardboard boxes. This is how you choose to discard the filter inserts. You can hang them up here so that they dry out a little more, and to place the next bag to discard. Now clean the surfaces, the sealing surface and the filter plate on the bottom of the filter unit. Everything else inside of the filter foot or the filter base is the dirty side of the filter housing and does not necessarily have to be cleaned unless it looks really bad. We are also replacing the O-ring set for this VRU. This should be done once a year with the annual filter insert change. In order to avoid any cellulose fibers to be scraped off of the filter insert, we are using this protection cover. And between each of the filter inserts, the spacer. Now change the O-ring in the spring guide. Place it slowly on the stay bolt. Put the spring back in. place the hex nut on top, and you can actually use the deep socket with the cordless drill to compress and screw the hex nut down. The hex nut needs to be tightened to about 120 millimeters, which is roughly 5 inches. The hex nut needs to be tightened so that we have about 5 inches measuring from the top of the stay bolt down to the spring guide. Okay. Also change the O-ring on the top nut. And use a torque wrench adjusted to 65 foot-pounds. Okay, last step, reuse the oil that you have drained off the filter unit to refill the filter unit. Just switch over from suction to discharge and pump it back in.